Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of the Magnolia Fields podcast. I'm Tanner Marlar alongside Cody Blazak. And if you're one of the viewers who are fortunate enough to be joining us on the YouTubes or the TikToks, you're probably now seeing my absolutely perfect Halloween costume and our perfect Halloween set. Shout out to all of our wonderful crew for making this happen. It's spooky season, Cody.
I still don't know. I can't see what that is.
That's a stack of pumpkins made to look like a witch.
Oh, okay. I saw the broomstick and I saw the pumpkins, but I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to be.
Close enough. Would
You
you
got
like
the spiders?
We got the spiders.
It's a great looking set.
Would you like to know why I'm wearing this costume, Cody?
I know why you're wearing it, because you're supposed to wear a Travis Kelce jersey and you didn't.
I did not. I did forget it. It's at home. It's clean, but it's at home. So when we got here, I'm called an audible and swapped to this wonderful costume set because.
So what are you supposed to be? Like high school Tanner?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, I need 49, but yeah, sure, that works.
Take about 20 pounds away.
Yeah, 20 pounds ago. Yeah. But speaking of them Aggies, they're on a 3-game win streak.
What happened to them Aggies?
Hey, 49-20 over Holly Springs a couple weeks ago. Then they get the win over Belmont, and then 48-14 over Manatee.
Not just a 3-game heater, a comfortable 3-game heater.
I mean, then they get Alcorn Central this week. Kosciusko should have 4 wins at that point. 3 of those being divisional wins, which means they should host a first-round playoff matchup.
And as we mentioned time and time again, it does not matter the record except in division play.
Yeah, non-divisional records don't really matter.
Obviously, you want to win those games, but those games don't matter. Those games don't get you into the playoffs.
No, these games do. So they get Alcorn Central this week and then on into Morville next week. I think, again, they take the win over Central. I don't think they're going to struggle that much with them. Is this part of this division being down? Otherwise, yes. But at the same time, they're putting up real numbers in these last few games. Even back to the Holly Springs matchup. The Boonville loss by 1 point stings, because if you win that one, you win your division. And then, obviously, the overtime loss to Tisch still stinging. If they win those games, Cody, they're sitting at 5 wins, 5-3. That's a solid season.
I think you could argue that they could even maybe be 6-2. You look at the Ripley game early in the season. I think if Kosciusko plays them now, I think they might take that game. They lost that game 14-0. I feel like it's more competitive. 14-0 is competitive, but you get what I'm saying. Kosciusko has got some momentum.
Yeah, playing better at the right time. Other teams that are playing better at the right time. We're going a little closer to the studio here. Philadelphia. The Cyclones have picked it up a little bit since divisional play started. Got the win over JZ George, 44-14, and then had the boat race with Sebastopol, which they won 68-45. I don't think anybody got tackled in that game.
No, this is another one of those teams though where they don't have a good record by any means. They're 3-6, but those 3 wins are all district wins, which is all that matters at this point in the season.
And that's the only 3 district games that they've played. JZ George, Sebastopol, and then 27-20 over Eupora. They get Union this week. Union a little bit down from last year. I think Philly might be able to take this one. We've seen Cameron Bowler and how good he is. Keep the ball in his hands. I think good things will happen, and we really very well could see a 4-win Philadelphia team win their division and then host a first-round playoff matchup.
There's a reason you and I are not coaches. But if I were Philadelphia's coach, I would make sure that Cameron Bowler had the ball in his hand about 40 times a game.
Yeah, I think he would get 20, 25, 30 touches per easily. I think you want him around that 25 touch mark after the third quarter, just because of how dynamic he is with the football in his hands. And then on top of that, how dynamic of a receiver he can be. We saw him against Choctaw Central. Make a lot of go for a lot of jump balls, made a lot of highlight plays. He's been a highlight reel his whole career.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that it's not over yet. This is not even his senior year.
Just a really athletic kid. Really can do it all. referencing back to the game you were just talking about, we saw what he could do as a receiver. We didn't see him get the ball as a running back as much as we thought we would, because the year before, he probably did have 30 touches as a running back. I mean, just ran all over the place and didn't use him to that extent against Choctaw Central. So it'll be he is their successful playmaker. If 100%. You want success in the offense, get the ball to him.
100%. And then keeping it with the small schools, Myrtle. We got an interesting message the other day, and I'm just going to read this word for word as we got it, because I think it's fantastic. Apparently, the boys at Myrtle have a sign up in the locker room that says 3-7, which is what we predicted them to go on the season's outset. And they kind of use that as this rallying cry throughout practices and games this year. And obviously Myrtle got the big win over Faulkner this past week. And according to this DM, shout out to Andy Stanton1 on TikTok, that was kind of the rallying cry for the defense this past week for Myrtle, which I love to see. I'm gonna be honest with you. We do this show and we give some schools a ribbing or two, but at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that really makes me enjoy what we do here. When we can see the product that we're putting out be implemented and viewed and taken seriously in these communities.
I think you just like to rile people up.
I mean, it's fun. Look, we all have fun with it.
This might rile them up. I don't know. It's not the goal, but take a minute. They only beat Alcorn Central 7-0.
This is true. This is true. Alcorn Central, notably, bad football team.
Bad football. They proceeded the next week to only beat Strayhorn at 19-0. However, shutouts, but they're not very good teams.
They're not.
But
Faulkner,
6-3
however,
is what it is.
Faulkner is a very good team, and they did beat Faulkner.
And it was a close one, but
they got
at the end of the day,
got it done.
W is what matters.
Hey, they've gotten it done in the right column. What are they? 6 wins already on the season?
6-3, 2-0 in district play. They've got the season finale, the 31st against Byers. I mean, it looks like they could go perfect in district play.
Yeah, and look, that's hosting a first-round matchup. That's what you want. That gives you the upper hand going into the playoffs. And we're going to do a special kind of end-of-the-season episode before terribly long, especially after state championships have concluded, over who we got right, what we got wrong in our preseason predictions. It's going to be super fun. I'm excited. It's going to be about an hour-long special, probably. So be on the lookout for that. But Myrtle definitely surprised a lot of people this year. Hats off to Myrtle.
Yeah, hats off. They're a team that you look at, and it feels like week to week they have progressed, which is what you want.
Yeah.
Can they get it done in the playoffs is the question.
And that is the big question. And moving on to another team that we've got some big questions about that might have been erased this past week. Tupelo, still undefeated on the season, 9-0. Believe they're number one in just about everybody's big school rankings in Mississippi. Holy smokes. 49-0 over Clinton this past week. 49-0. Not a single score.
Starkville, you got a handful coming your way in a couple weeks.
A couple weeks. They're on bye this week, and that's the thing, is Tupelo's on bye this week, preparing for Starkville.
This is in 2 weeks ago when Starkville played Clinton. Clinton went up pretty big on Starkville. Starkville got back into that game, and I think it was a 10 or an 11-point game at the end of it when it was all said and done. Clinton won that game and then just got smacked by Tupelo.
I mean, smacked around.
I just
Tupelo
don't know.
was playing with their food by the end of that one.
I don't know how Starkville's going to stand a chance. I really don't.
I don't know how many are going to stand a chance. This might be the Tupelo team, one of the Tupelo teams that breaks that postseason curse on the back of J.J. Hill and a couple other fantastic players for them blankets.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, Hill, when you have a running back that is averaging over 150 yards a game on the ground, it's kind of tough.
It's not half bad.
22 total touchdowns all season long, so over 2 touchdowns a game. I just don't know how you stop someone like he's averaging 10.2 yards a carry.
Yeah, it was insane. Speaking of insane, we're going to get to some real insanity after this break. Last week's Game of the Week did not disappoint. Might be my nomination for Game of the Year before this one's done with. All that and more on the other side of this break from the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios in the Magnolia Fields podcast.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome to the Richard Schwartz and Associates Magnolia Field Studios. One call, that's all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Magnolia Fields podcast from the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios. Last week, if you follow the show, which I hope you do, and you should, because if you don't, it's pretty rude. We were super excited to go to this game, Kosciusko and Houston, because we saw these two teams as being able to play each other very, very, very close. Kosciusko, young team on the rise, a lot of 2026s, a lot of 2027s that have real next-level type talent. And we saw that. We looked at this Houston team with really good senior leadership, have struggled a little bit on the offensive side of the ball this year, but have always been able to play really solid defensively. Most of that young talent that Kosciusko has accrued is on the offensive side of the ball. We thought this was going to be a close game. We had no idea how crazy close and crazy good this thing would get, Cody.
It was by score as close as possible. 28-27 was the final of that one. It was funny how that game kind of unraveled, though. I mean, just utter domination by Houston in the first quarter, and then Houston disappeared in that second quarter.
Utter domination in the second quarter by Kosciusko,
and
point
then,
blank.
Correct. You get to halftime, adjustments are made and everything, and then third quarter, it might have been one of the most exciting and boring third quarters all at once that we've seen.
I think it was purely exciting. If you just look at the box score, sure, it's a little boring because not a lot of scoring goes on.
I say exciting and boring because there were 100 crazy plays that happened in that third quarter. Just couldn't put any points on the board.
Nobody scored.
And then that fourth quarter, final 8 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever it was.
As good of a football as you'll see played.
I mean, I think we might have seen one of the prettiest balls thrown all year from Dakota Harrell to Rogers to put them up by 7 with a couple of minutes left, and then Schuler answers for Kosciusko. That's what you get excited for.
That is. I mean, how many times do you see somebody run fullback dive all the way down the field like Kosciusko was able to do with Schuler? And then to have him break through to the secondary and just shrug off tacklers as a sophomore, impressive. More than impressive.
I mean, a tight end led rushing.
Yeah.
For Kosciusko.
Yeah.
97 yards, almost 100. He had 2 touchdowns. I mean,
that tight end description a little iffy. He's a fullback. Okay. I mean, he played fullback most of the night. And
he did. Listed
rushing
as a tight end, but
yeah,
primarily did play fullback. It was a fun one. I mean, you mention it though. You put this same Houston team against this Kosciusko team next year. I think I'm going with Kosciusko.
Yeah.
You have these kids. I mean, a lot of these players we're talking about are sophomores.
Caden Wade is going to be impressive.
Caden Wade, and sophomore has an arm on him.
Yeah, he's going to be impressive.
And you saw the youth in him
you did.
Against Houston. A couple of interceptions, a couple of fumbles as well. I mean, it just takes time.
Turnovers really hurt. Turnovers really hurt this Kosciusko team the other night. Obviously, like you said, Wade had a couple fumbles. Jontavius Roundtree may be one of the most exciting run after the catch players we've covered this year. He's also only a sophomore. He plays wide receiver and running back for Kosciusko. He's going to be electric to watch.
Well, I mean, you look at, they had 6 players that carried the ball. 4 of them are sophomores.
Yeah.
I mean, and the 2 that didn't One was Shy Williams, who's a senior who had himself a pretty good night, but the other one in Merritt only had 2 carries. You're getting so much production back for the next couple of years.
It's fun. It's going to be fun to watch. And I look at that offensive line, an offensive line that went in, knowingly undersized, because you can go back and watch the tape. Houston has got them beat in the size department up front all game long. But that offensive line for Kosciusko really impressed me because they beat Houston to the punch while being undersized. They played more physical. They played stronger. Again, the turnovers really just killed them, I think.
Yeah, you look at it, if you take away one of those turnovers, that might be the difference, and they could end it in regulation.
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane the amount of talent.
Talk about a tough way to lose a game, too.
Well, that's the thing. If you're Houston, that game probably should have been over in regulation.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
you should have twice.
Yeah.
It should have been a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean,
but the ball was called dead.
I saw on the TikTok, I was scrolling through, and I think Dakota Harrell actually commented, like, dude, that was a game-winning touchdown. And yeah, it was.
It was a game-winning touchdown twice.
Blew it dead twice.
And then luckily it did work out for Houston. It's kind of one of those things where it all fell how it was supposed to be, just maybe not the way you wanted it to be.
I've seen some people saying that because the running back got in and pushed Harrell from behind, that it was blown dead. But I'll pose you this. What's the difference in the running back pushing versus handing it off? And then I see plenty of quarterbacks that will go push the pile, and that's not blown dead.
I don't think there is a difference.
I don't either.
So
I don't think it should be blown dead just because the running back pushed him.
I don't know why that. I don't know what makes someone think that it should be blown dead.
Beats me.
It's part of the game.
Beats me. I'm just telling you what I saw.
I believe you.
I would love to get some word from the MHSAA on why exactly that those two plays were blown dead, because I'm sure there's a reason. I don't think the refs did this intentionally by any means. I don't think that it was in bad taste. I don't think it was the wrong call. There's something that we're missing that I would love an explanation for.
No, I agree, especially because it happened twice.
Yeah.
It didn't just happen once and then the next time they let it go. It happened on back-to-back plays. So, I mean, yeah, we are missing something. Just what is it?
What is it? Yeah. And we've got some MHSAA contacts that maybe we can explore. Hopefully. Yay, nay. We'll see. But honestly, for Kosciusko, I think that was a good chance to grab a really solid win because they've got Murrah ahead this week. They're probably going to drop below 500. Murrah sits at, I think, 8-1. Fantastic team. Then they get Senatobia. They travel to Senatobia. Going to be a dogfight, I think. I could very well see Kosciusko coming out of this 500 on the year, though. And again, with the youth, yes, it's pure raw talent, and it's wicked raw talent. But they make youthful decisions and youthful mistakes. And I think you'll take a 500 season with the roster you got right now.
Absolutely. Considering what they might be able to do the next couple of years, yeah, I agree. I'm okay with 500 if in the offseason there's a big jump for these sophomores. You've got a year under your belt, some more experience. Kosciusko is going to be a team to watch.
100%. I think Caden Wade's going to be a next-level athlete. I'm wondering what position. Because I'm not entirely sure he's going to play quarterback at the next level, but he's going to play something.
Yeah,
he's a freak athlete.
Kid's got a cannon, though. Dakota Harrell also had a cannon.
Dakota Harrell does have a cannon. I think he's just as dangerous with his legs. Also going to be very interested to see what his athletic career winds up culminating in.
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
At least as of right now.
As of right now. I don't know who else you pick.
I mean, we saw it all.
We did. And I think
plays.
That's the first overtime game we've had on the schedule this year for our game of the week. Look, we scheduled this game out a few weeks ago, and you and I we were driving back. I forget where from. Might have been Amory.
That sounds right.
It was a while ago where we picked this one out, and we said that one will be good. That one will be good.
And it was.
And it
did not disappoint.
It was fantastic. So, shout out to those coaching staffs. I mean, Both got really great teams to work with. Both are going to be really solid in the future. I can't wait to get back there next year and even in the basketball season because those athletics tend to transfer over at those two schools. So very exciting. Very excited. All right. We've got another game of the week on tap, Cody. This one, we've picked it out a few weeks in advance too because of one guy that we want to see tote that rock.
And that dude can go.
He can do it. We're going to talk about him and the rest of the game of the week slate for the regular season right after this break here on the Magnolia Fields podcast from the Richard Schwartz and Associate Studios. Stay with us.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
Welcome back to the Magnolia Field Studios, brought to you by Richard Schwartz and Associates. One call, that's all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios and the Magnolia Fields podcast. Tanner Marler alongside Cody Blazak, and if you're just joining us, we went over what had to be, I think at this point, unless this week or next week just wows us, the game of the year. On into this week's game of the week, though. Grenada at Saltillo. Tigerland, we're coming.
I don't know if they want Grenada to come, though.
They don't. They don't. I'm telling you right now, 2-7 Saltillo wants no piece of this Grenada team.
Macaleb Taylor.
Yeah.
One word or two words.
I was going to say that's two
one
words.
name.
Close enough. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the numbers on this guy it's just insane. He's got basically 1,700 yards on the ground already, 1,694 to be exact, 28 touchdowns. That is 3 a game.
And here's the deal. I saw somebody say, because I think we said he's like the Ashton Jeanty of
we did say that.
Mississippi high school football. Someone compared him to J.J. Hill. Look at the numbers. J.J. Hill is fantastic. He's not Macaleb Taylor good right now.
I will say they're not far off yardage-wise.
They're not. Touchdowns
Macaleb
wise.
Taylor also has like 70 more carries.
Yeah. Touchdowns wise.
But on 70 more carries.
I mean, yeah.
He's got 8 more on like around about 70 more carries.
I just also think he's physically impressive too. The guy's
he
6
is.
foot tall, 205 pounds.
You're right. I mean, he's going to be a sight to behold come Friday. I mean, this is a guy we've been told we need to get out and see, and we're finally getting to it. And if I had to guess, he is going to run as much as he can for about a quarter, and that's going to be about it. Maybe a half.
I see a half.
Maybe a half.
I see a half. Now, here's the thing with the Taylor and Hill comparisons. Hill's the Mississippi State offer, right? But like you said, you look at the stats, and the yardage is very similar. Taylor's got more touchdowns.
Correct.
I don't get how they're not talked about in the same space near as much. Maybe it's a geography thing. Us being closer to Tupelo, we hear more about Hill. But people on TikTok have been talking about this Taylor kid all season long, and when we turned on the tape, we said we've got to go watch.
Yeah, no, actually, I'll tell you why they're not in the same category. It's not 70 more carries for Taylor. It's over 100.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more carries.
So, I mean, 6 more touchdowns on over 100 more carries. I think that might be why.
Maybe.
And that's just my thoughts. I mean, don't get me wrong. The kid can play.
But he's not even rated on 24/7. No rating.
I can't help you.
I mean, I look at Prep Red Zone. He's not even, or I'm not logged in on here, but Prep Red Zone has got some stuff on him. But as far as 24/7 is concerned, not even got a recruiting profile made.
Yeah, I mean, also a senior. So, I mean,
Some junior college is going to be very lucky.
No, they will. Absolutely agree. We'll see what he can do come Friday. But I think, and we talk about the numbers, and it's all just numbers on a piece of paper, essentially. But I think the difference when you look at numbers is really the average that Hill puts up, and just because of the carries. I mean, don't get me wrong, 1,600, almost 1,700 yards on the ground is impressive, but with almost 250 carries, I feel like if some other backs had that opportunity, they would maybe not the 1,600 yards, but they'd be sitting around Hill's numbers at the 13, 14.
You have to think so, right?
That would be my guess.
I mean,
Imagine if we got to see both of them play each other. That's a game to watch.
that would be fun. Obviously, Grenada being 6A, Tupelo being 7A.
Correct, we
We're not
won't.
going to see it for the rest of the year.
But imagine if we did.
It would be fun. Also, we've talked about how good Taylor is, yes, and he's the backbone of this team. But this is a Grenada team that's really gearing up to make a run at that 6A title.
No, they are. And let's not forget about the quarterback either with Braden Trusty. He's got 1,000 passing yards on the season to complement Taylor. 10 touchdowns. I mean,
They can pull it up and throw it when they need to.
You've got a couple of options on this team, and that's a big plus.
That it is. Yeah, they can pull up and throw it when they need to. I mean, I'm looking at Macaleb Taylor's Twitter right now. He's got an offer from Alcorn State. Holmes is offered. East Mississippi's offered. East Central, Mississippi Delta, basically every junior college in Mississippi. Again, I just don't see why the Division I interest isn't there. But again, he's going to make some junior college very, very happy.
Hopefully, we will be able to see him at a junior college sometime in the near future, if that is the case.
That might be the case. That might be the case.
The more I look at it, though, the more I'm with you. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference in height and weight between Hill and Taylor, but it's not much.
Not much. I mean, listen to
Couple
his stat line
inches.
against Clinton. Listen to his stat line against Clinton. And this is from, earlier this year, September 22nd. Kid had 7 touchdowns in one night, 325 yards on 40 carries. Now,
it's crazy.
Is that a lot? Yeah, that's a lot of carries. 7 touchdowns in a night is insane. It's insane. So, like I said, he's going to make some junior college very happy, and I would wager that junior college will not be his only step.
What is that? 49 points, including the PAT?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's how many points Tupelo as a team put up against Clinton.
Correct.
I mean,
I'm excited.
As you
Again,
should
he may
be.
only play a half. Again, Saltillo, a 2-3 win football team. They're not great.
he might score 7 touchdowns in half, though.
Maybe. Depends how many times I let him tote it.
Correct.
We'll see. I'm excited, though. Give me your score prediction, Cody.
Macaleb Taylor to Saltillo by a lot.
I am also going to go Grenada. I'm going to go Grenada 49, Saltillo 10.
The big question,
or 7, Saltillo 7.
I think the big question is how long do they keep Taylor in the game, which really,
I don't know if it's going to matter.
Well, no, you're right, but I think if you leave him in, the chances of more points being scored are a lot higher. I mean, we've seen what Grenada has kind of put up points-wise this year, at least. They've put up 55 to Clinton, 40 a bunch of times. I think it just depends.
They can score.
They can score.
And again, this is a rough Saltillo team. I've got Grenada 49, Saltillo 7.
It'll be in that realm.
It will be. But we're going to get to see Macaleb Taylor. I'm excited. Tigerland, we are coming straight up Highway 45 this Friday night. If you see us out, don't be a stranger. We always love chatting with the fans, players, everybody. We cannot wait to get to Saltillo.
It's going to be fun. It's sad that we're getting towards the end of the season.
I know. Season's ending. We're winding down. Football season. We're about to wind up basketball season.
Playoffs, here we come.
Playoffs, here we come. That's all for this week. As always, thanks for watching and listening here on the Magnolia Fields podcast from the Richard Schwartz and Associates Studios. Signing off. We'll catch you guys next week.